How are you guys doing? Today is Thursday, August 26th, 2021. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, now that all of the 32 teams for the Champions League group stage have been selected, after all the rounds, all the prelim rounds have been completed, I'm going to use this round to at least list the pools and at least describe how the selection process for today is going to work out before the groups are selected tomorrow. But in the meantime, I'm going to just lay out how everything transfers from last year's domestic regular seasons into this current Champions League, because the whole point of the Champions League is that it is the league of the champions from last season. It is based purely off of clubs' performances from the last season, and clubs' performances this year will dictate how the seeding for next year's Champions League goes, and so on. So yesterday was the last, there were the last matchups of the second leg of the last qualifying rounds for Champions League. And the way it works is that for selection, it's going to be selected in groups of 8, and for each group, there are going to be teams of 4, and for each group, they're going to take one team from each pot to make up the group of 4 so that all the groups are evenly well-rounded. The first pot makes up the Champions League and the Europa League title holders, who in this matchup are Chelsea from England. After they didn't even finish they did finish top 4 in the Premier League, but they would have made Champions League regardless because they won Champions League last year. And Villarreal makes it into Champions League this year after they were the champions of Europa League. Following them, it is the champions of the 6 leagues that are ranked highest by association rank, which are Spain, England, Germany, Italy, France, and Portugal. So first, starting from the very top, the champion representing Spain is Atletico Madrid after they ended up winning La Liga last year. The champion representing England is Manchester City after Manchester City won Premier League earlier this year. Bayern Munich is going to represent Germany after Bayern took its 9th straight Bundesliga title. Inter Milan is going to represent Italy after ending Juventus's probably decade-long Serie A title reign. Lille is going to represent France after upsetting PSG in the final weeks. And Sporting CP is going to represent Portugal, as that's going to be the first pot of teams to select from. Pot 2 is, of course, going to be made up of course, the second-best teams, the teams that are top tier that didn't necessarily make that first pot. Of course, the teams in that include Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Sevilla, representing Spain. Of course, because they didn't win, they aren't in pot 1, but they're too good to be in pot 3. Representing England from that group is Manchester United and Liverpool after they went on to finish 2nd and 3rd in the Premier League. Manchester United finishing 2nd, Liverpool finishing 3rd. And then going back to La Liga, Real Madrid finished 2nd, Barcelona finished 3rd, and Sevilla would end up finishing 4th. Jumping out to Italy, pot 2, the matchup is going to be Juventus, who ended up finishing last year with the 4th best record in Italy, but they still are finishing in the pots higher than Atalanta and Milan. Representing France is going to be PSG, the only other team representing France other than Lille, as they finished as the Ligue 1 runners-up. Those are like I said, the only 2 teams that would actually make it this far. Representing Germany in pot 2 is Borussia Dortmund, after Borussia Dortmund finished as the runners-up in that league. And then following pot 2, that's where it gets to the interesting teams that found their own way. Representing Portugal in pot 3, their second team is Porto. Porto finished the Portuguese league with the 2nd best record, and also representing Portugal in pot 3 is Benfica. Benfica would finish as the third best team in all of Portugal. Also in Pot 3, representing the nation of the Netherlands, the lone team out of the Netherlands is Ajax, a team that many people are very familiar with. They ended up winning the Dutch league by 16 points over PSV Eindhoven. So, of course, that is how Ajax was able to qualify and make it up here. The third team that's going to qualify for Germany is RB Leipzig, as RB Leipzig ended up finishing the Bundesliga with the second best record, but they are going to finish in the pot below Dortmund because I guess they were rated as not much of a threat as Dortmund. But of course, I continue. Representing the lone country representing Austria is going to be Red Bull Salzburg. Red Bull Salzburg would go on to finish as the Austrian champs last season, as they went on to beat Rapid Wien, or the Viennese team, by 15 points for that. Or that's how big the gap was between first and second place, and they were able to earn a spot here. And also representing Italy, the third team representing Italy in this is Atalanta, after Atalanta went on to finish with the third best record in Serie A. And then last but not least, the only team that is representing Russia in this matchup is Zenit St. Petersburg, who ended up as the champions of Russia last year. And of course, after competing, they were able to make it in. So congrats to them. And of course, that rounds out pot 3. And then pot 4 makes up, of course, the combination of the teams that had already qualified for the spot and teams that had to defeat one another in matchups to make it here. Starting off representing Turkey, the only team representing Turkey was Beşiktaş. Beşiktaş ended up winning over Galatasaray, even though they had the same amount of points, but they ended up winning by 1 goal off of goal differential. So that's the difference between Beşiktaş being there and them not. The second team representing Ukraine will be Dynamo Kiev. Dynamo Kiev finished with actually the best record in the Ukrainian Premier League, but that's where they're sitting. The lone team representing Belgium this year is Club Brugge. Club Brugge was the team that actually won the Belgian league last year. The lone team representing Switzerland was Young Boys, as Young Boys was the team that won Switzerland by 31 points last season. The fourth team representing Italy, the only team representing them in pot 4 is Milan, as Milan finished with the second best record in Serie A. The lone team representing Sweden is Malmo, and if you're wondering where that's familiar, that's the team where Zlatan got his start. So of course they were the team that won the Swedish Premier League by 9 points last year. And then the fourth team representing Germany in this Champions League matchup will be Wolfsburg. Wolfsburg right now, actually the current leaders of the Bundesliga, they finished with the fourth best records last year. They're the only team in the Bundesliga to win their first 2 games this year. And then last but not least, you have the champions out of Moldova, Sheriff Tiraspol, as this is going to be a very intense moment for them, as they are going to get selected to be playing in the Champions League. And so this is going to be a very big moment for them. But that is currently what the Champions League is looking like, just to give a sense of what the pots look like prior to the teams being selected. With that said, I want to thank first, the FIFA, the Wikipedia, the UEFA websites for helping me do what I needed to get done to get these to do this episode, and of course get the data that I need. I of course want to thank everyone for listening to all 9 minutes of this piece. I hope all is well, and once all of the leagues or the Champions League groups have been selected, I will move on with it from there. With that said, I can't wait to get started with this 2021-22 season, and let's get started. I will catch you with an episode after this. Thanks for listening, and peace. I'll catch you later.